So here's the security camera. It's battery powered, which is nice. Go ahead and open this up. Comes in a nice box. And okay. Don't charge the camera in the environment below 0 degrees Celsius. Indoor for half an hour before charging. Okay. Pretty nice box. Well padded. Got some instruction things and such. Here's the camera. Get it out one-handed. Oh, it's got some heft to it. Okay, so looks like it's, yeah, rechargeable, which is nice, or I suppose you could plug it in. It's good size camera. It feels quite sturdy. And everything feels really well made. Looks like all of that turns and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty nice camera. Yeah, pretty nice. And looks like those are the things to put it in the wall. I don't know what these guys are. It looks like they go in here. I need to look at the instructions for it, but seems pretty nice thus far. What does this say? Power reset. What do we got here? Oh my word. Alright, looks like I might need 2 hands to get that. But thus far it looks pretty nice.
I'm posting this information about the Toguard AP50 Wi-Fi security camera. I recently purchased this device and mounted it to the deck in my backyard, about 8 feet off the ground on the corner deck post. Let me explain that I wasn't really after the security features on this camera as much as the ability to monitor the backyard, particularly to keep an eye on my dog when she's out in the fenced-in backyard, make sure nothing is going wrong, and take a look at her if she starts barking or whatever. So I set the device up. I will offer you a couple bits of information about the device. First of all, it does use a micro SD memory card in the device. When you purchase that card, because it doesn't come with one, make sure you get something that's V30 rated. I tried an earlier micro SD card that was at a lower speed, and the results weren't that great. The V30 card is working fine. The device itself seems to be fine. It's working to monitor the backyard. The motion detection does work. I'm using it to send alerts, not necessarily to trigger recordings. I can record on demand if I choose to, but our purpose was not necessarily security for this device. A couple of things that are important. I mentioned the speed of the micro SD card. The other thing to be aware of is that this camera connects to your home network through a wireless access point. It has to be a 2.4 gigahertz wireless access point. And whatever device you're using to view needs to be connected to the same access point. Not that big a challenge, but just to be clear, that is a necessity. I think some people have posted or would post negative reviews based on the fact that they couldn't connect to it. We have to be connected on the same access point. Yeah. The software that is downloaded is pretty good once it's configured, but it was a little tricky to configure. There's one particular spot where you have to scan a QR code to connect the two devices. That's on the initial setup. One of the things that is nice is that once it's set up, you can install the software on a second device. I use an Android tablet. My wife uses an iPad. She was able to install the software on the iPad and just use the credentials that I had created, that is the login name and password, and it connected to the camera fine. So we now have two devices in the house that are capable of connecting to the camera and taking a look at what's going on in the backyard. Resolution's very good. Nighttime resolution is, while it's gray scale, it's pretty fair. You can certainly make out objects. Other things that are kind of interesting is you can zoom, like you can with most Android or iOS devices, just by spreading your thumbs. As you can see, if you zoom in really tight, or if you zoom into something quite distant, it gets a little pixelated, but it's still perfectly visible and you can make out what's going on. The other thing I really liked about it is, while I'm watching it, if I tap down here, you can see all the tools that are available to me. One of them is this tool that will allow me to pan and tilt the camera. So if I decide I want to pan to the left, for instance, there is a little delay in the pan, but you'll see that it positions the camera where I want it to be positioned. Now I can swing it way over to the left-hand side of my yard. It will go further, but that's as far as I need to go. My deck's a little bit ratty, but I'm working on having that replaced. And I can also tilt it. If I want to look down, I can look pretty much directly beneath the camera. That's a direct down to the ground shot. And then I can raise it back up. But it's very, very nice in this regard to have not just a remote camera, but one whose focus and aim you can control. That doesn't happen very often with most of the stuff. I have trail cameras too, but they certainly won't let me look at this thing and pan the directions to get the focus that I want. This is the area where I normally keep it set up because that's the area that the dog typically hangs out in. So, all in all, oh, you can remove that directional control just by pressing the center of it. All in all, I have to say I'm pretty pleased with the device. It does certainly what I wanted it for. Your needs may vary, but it's working, and it's working well. I haven't checked it for longevity of the battery as of yet, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. It's got a pretty big battery capacity, and it's easy to remove the camera from its mount just by removing 4 little thumb screws if you need to bring it inside to charge it. It'll charge with a regular USB charger. The other thing that's nice is I would advise you get the camera fully set up before you connect it to its mounting bracket. And part of that is because the camera itself needs to scan that QR code that displays on your device when you install the software. But as I say, it works perfectly for what I'm trying to do, and I'm very pleased with it. I hope this helps. Thank you.